What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Break It Down, where we get to speak to some amazing artists and dissect their songs, videos, albums, and hear the story that goes into the creative process into making some incredible material. Back again with us today is Beliefs. What's happening, my man?
My man, pleasure being here. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Thank you. This is the fourth time on the show. So we appreciate you giving us as much of your time as you have. For some of our listeners that don't know about Beliefs, let us know about some of the material you've put out, some of the artists you've worked with.
Yeah, I've been very blessed. I've worked with a bunch of cats from Cormega, Large Professor, Elzhi, Masta Ace, Terminology, Planet Asia, just to name a few. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it going and just always trying to work with new artists that inspire me. And it's been a journey so far.
Excellent. Well, it's quite the resume. So congrats to you for in what seems almost like a short period of time, you've been able to work and establish yourself with some amazing artists. So congrats, my friend.
Thank you.
Today we want to get into The Horizon, which is your first full-length LP. So let's break it down. Tell us how you came up with this project and basically how you worked with some amazing artists. I mean, like legends in the game.
Yeah, so I always love making beats, and I started off just doing beat tapes. I probably released maybe like 4 or 5 beat tapes, and everyone said, "Oh, these are great. Like, you should do something with these beats." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to work with artists, but it's impossible. It's not that easy." And one day I was like, "Screw it, I'm gonna just send out like all these beats out to just artists that I really mess with, and we'll see if anything happens to stick." And got a few artists on a few different tracks, and I thought, all right, wow, this could be something. Let's keep it going and just keep trying to get people. And over time, bigger artists were open to working, and I just tried to compile just as many songs as I could at the time. So it was just kind of, there was no theme yet or rhyme or reason for The Horizon. It was just making tracks and just trying to put out an album. So eventually I had enough music, and I figured, we'll cut it down to, I think it was like maybe 13 or 14 tracks, and put them together in an order that I thought worked. And I had went to Cali and took a bunch of pictures, and I really liked that one picture that I used for the album cover. That one always just stuck with me, and it was kind of like a picture of the sunset. So I figured, why not The Horizon?
Sure.
And I thought it was a great name, but I'm like, oh, somebody had to have used it. And I looked it up, and there's no really well-known album called The Horizon. So I said, all right, we're in.
Excellent. Yeah. Any of these artists you work with in the studio, or most of them they kind of sent in features? This was pre-COVID that it came out, so.
Yep. Everything's pretty much been sent in. I worked with a few artists. I mean, I've worked with M. in the studio, Lotus Taylor, one of my favorite artists from Cambridge. We've had the chance to work on a bunch of different tracks together, and I produced most of his albums. I've produced at least a few tracks on. So yeah, it's been dope to link up with him. And another artist, Suriel, one of my favorite artists, from Lynn, super dope cat. It was funny, we actually met, I was working on a Volkswagen, and he happened to be driving a Jetta at the time, so he had brought it in, trying to trade it in. I just happened to be a sales rep, and we started talking. He's like, "Oh, I make music," and I'm like, "Oh, word, send me some stuff." I heard it, and I was like, "Oh my God, this kid is like incredible." So he was a super nice kid, so we started working. We got in the studio a few times. So yeah, it's been dope to work with some local cats. I got in the studio with Tim Nyan as well. Shout out Tim, over at John Glass's old studio. So we got to work together. But I would say, yeah, most of the sessions have just been sent in. I'd like to start doing some more in-person stuff, but COVID kind of messed everything up with that. So, hopefully after this project, I can start getting in the studio and doing that. And no, it's been crazy.
Yeah, this album, again, Masta Ace, Skyzoo, Cormega, Styles P, like, to be able to work with these artists, and then now you're like, where do I go from here? Like, I mean, obviously you're still working with Skyzoo, and now ST Knack, you just dropped a song with, and Kool G Rap and Craig G. Like, how surreal was it when all of a sudden you have an album with all these legends on it?
Yeah, it was almost too surreal. I remember like putting the track list together and being like, damn, I should really pace myself. Like, maybe save some of these for the next album, like not go too crazy. But I mean, I just wanted people to look at that track list on the debut album and be like, oh wow, like I need to check that out. That's always been my thing. Like, I'm like, this first album, like, it's either going to get swept under the rug or it's going to blow people away just on that track list. So when people look at it, it's gotta catch your eye. So I figured, the more dope artists on it, the more eyes it'll catch. And I mean, it did really well. And it was such an honor. It's almost like you get like almost like jaded or just like complacent or something, because you're just like, oh well, the bucket list is already looking pretty thin, so. But I mean, there's always dope cats to work with. I'm always discovering new people, and I mean, there's just so many dope rappers out there that I'd love to work with that I still want to collaborate with. So yeah, it's been crazy, and I got a lot more in the works right now, so I'm excited for the next project.
Awesome. Well, we'll be happy to promote that as well, because everything's been flawless. So
appreciate it.
Is there a song on this album that you were I don't want to say blown away is cliche, but you were, when the song was finished or the verses came back, you were like, wow, this is way better than I thought, or this is like beyond imaginable, as far as I never thought it would be this great or this high level of a song?
I think the song that I'm most proud of was The Cloth with Cormega and Dark Low.
Okay.
The beat was just so smooth, and I almost thought it was like too, like almost like, I don't want to say cinematic, or like, I don't know, it was very different, but it was a very smooth beat, and I didn't think that either one of them would even want to use it, but Cormega really liked it. He said, it really inspired him to do a dope verse, and that's my favorite verse on the whole album was the Cormega verse. And then he basically said, oh, well, we can get someone else on. Like, I know this cat Dark Low, and I think he would be great. And I said, yeah, sure. Like, let's do it. I actually wasn't familiar with Dark Low at the time, but I was like, yeah, if you think you'd be good on it, like whatever you want to do, I trust your vision. So he got Dark Low on the track, and it's funny because like Dark Low's verse was just so hard and grimy, but it was like so poetic at the same time. And like Cormega's was like super like insightful poetry. It was like just so beautiful. So it's like the verses kind of like contrasted, but they both fit so well together. It was just a special track, and didn't even need a chorus or a scratch hook or anything on that one. We just kind of let the beat filter in and out, going in from verse to verse, and it just worked great. And shout out Ebol on the mix on that. He freaking crushed it. So yeah, that was just a special track. That's my favorite one off the project. And I mean, of course, Reaganomics as well. That one was out of this world. Large Pro, Elzhi, Rascass, and M. I mean, that was an incredible lineup, and every one of them came correct. I mean, every bar. So those are probably the two I'm most proud of.
Awesome. Well, yeah, let's give our listeners a little taste of The Cloth. This is featuring Cormega and Dark Low. So here's a little taste right now. Check it out.
Double digit shell case sniff, you felt my wrath. They see my mind walking past, and they held the bags. School of hard knocks, and you failed the class. I take you niggas for a joke, but I failed to laugh. Held my foot down on the gas till I felt the dash. My OG was in the bank, he told him fill his bag. I hate to open old wounds like I'm pulling scabs, but this my mold, cup dirty, leaf filled with gas. I told him put his gun down, but he say he's starving, and that's the reason why he living, cause he stay on offense. I had to tell her, this a loft, she said nice apartment. Every time I'm in the booth, I transform from Clark Kent. First bid, came home like damn, where the time went? I probably had on Kobe's, they was ankle length. And me, you niggas took a mile, I just gave an inch. Sis crib, cooked the work, we just paid the rent. I get you wiped out, I'm trying to change my lifestyle. I got a suit on at the fight, I brought my wife out. Top off, gun and reach, it was nice out. I might flick it for the jail and send some kites out. SK machine is here, that's what the demon said. Fast forward, link with legends, that's from Queensbridge. Rewind it back, graveyard and in the fiend crib. Fast forward again, I paid the stack and my jeans ripped.
That was Dark Low and Cormega. The song's called The Cloth, off of The Horizon by Beliefs. All the links are in the description below. So if you like it, add it to your playlist, download it, purchase it, whatever you need to do to listen. Go share it with a friend. Let them know how dope it is. Was there any artists that you were hoping to get on this project that maybe didn't get back to you in time, or you didn't hear back from, or I mean, this is an incredible list to begin with, but maybe just didn't happen at the time?
I mean, there were, off the top of my head, I can't think exactly who, but there were a couple artists that I definitely wanted to get on it, and I had sent beats to, but never heard back, which I get. A lot of it, I didn't take it personal. A lot of it, I think, too, was like timing wise. Like, people aren't always open to features. That's something I've seen, and it's like, if someone's in album mode, they're not really focusing on other people's projects unless you're like a huge artist. Then they can make time. But yeah, so and I think part of it too, there were a couple artists where I'd reached out at a time and they couldn't make it happen then, but then later on we ended up working. So yeah, off the top of my head, I can't remember exact names, but I mean, I would say I got the vast majority of the people I wanted to get on the album. So that was dope. Yeah, I mean, the next project has some of those same cats, but a lot of new cats on there as well. I try to mix it up and keep like some local cats that people might not know and get them, on the same project with people that are, well known. I like to mix it up and, put people on that, not everyone's heard of, but that deserve their shot. So
sure.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. The album's great. The Horizon, it's almost 2 years old at this point. So for those that it may have slipped through the cracks just from the amount of material that's released nowadays, definitely go give it another listen or check it out for the first time, because there isn't a bad song on there. So it's very well done production wise. And, when we're talking about this, these levels of artists, Raekwon and Rex and Acro and Crumb, and, I don't think I mentioned them earlier. And so with all the other ones we mentioned and those guys, it's going to be a dope project. So congrats, my friend. Anything you want to mention about the project that, was this like a personal triumph? Anything that you want to mention about the project before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, it's always a goal of mine to work with so many amazing artists. And I think, for up and coming producers, you have to look at it like, the ball's in your court. You could send beats out to every artist on the planet and you might only hear back from a few. It's not about chasing the placements. It's about getting artists on your project, building your own catalog, and kind of taking that route. And I think, you know, it was super inspiring to see people like, you know, The Alchemist, Static Selecta, DJ Khaled, all these different producers, like getting artists on their own beats and, you know, releasing their own albums. And I think that's the future. And if you really, you know, care about it and you really want to make a career out of this, then you have to get artists on your tracks. Because the sad reality is you could send beats out and you might never hear back from anyone. You might hear back from a couple people. You can't build a career off chasing a placement. Sure, maybe eventually you get that lottery ticket and you land a beat on a huge album, but it's just numbers wise, it's probably not going to happen, you know? So just, you know, build your own sound. And once you feel like you've hit that plateau where your beats are steady and solid, start to get artists on your own beats and kind of build up from there. I think that's the best move. Even if you don't build a whole album, just drop a couple of songs, see how it goes, you know?
Yeah, it's great advice. You know, take control over what you can, and that's, you know, adding to your own stuff and building from there. So great advice. I like that.
Thanks.
B-Leafs, appreciate all the time you gave us today. It was awesome. Thank you much. It was nice to officially meet you through Zoom as we do nowadays. So thanks for this again. Let all our listeners know where they can subscribe and follow you.
Yeah, so I'm on all streaming services. It's B_LEAFS, B-Leafs. And then on Instagram at B_Leafs and Twitter at B-Leafs Music. Awesome.
All links in the description below for the album, for B-Leafs, Instagram, Twitter. So go follow this man. He's got some incredible production. The material is endless, and it seems like it's only getting better. So congrats to you, my friend.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you having me. It's
anytime.
been an honor.
Anytime. Thank you. And to all the listeners out there, we hope you enjoyed this latest episode. More to come, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Break It Down. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcast. If there's a song or video you want us to break down with an artist, hit us up on social media at Own Lane Music, or hit the artist up directly and mention our show. Maybe we can talk to him. That's it, everyone. Peace out.